I went out last night, so my voice is specifically tired right now. I'm not tired. Well, I kind of am, but my voice is specifically tired, and I'm going. So yeah, yeah.
Yes, there
That's
you
why
go.
it's extra sexy to this morning.
See, if I try and talk like that, it just kind of sounds like this.
I'm Batman.
Hello. My parents were killed when I was 10 in front of me.
Yes, yes, Master Bruce. Okay, I understand.
You're
Now it's bedtime, Master Bruce.
45. Maybe you should stop going on about that.
This really shows the psychological damage that Batman really has. Maybe he should get some sort of help. He's got enough money. The number one thing to do right now is to have a cup of coffee, because coffee is connected to your soul.
I don't. That's very interesting. I don't have one of those, but we should start the show, friend
We
Alex.
should. Hello, welcome to Two Smart Arts. We are the Two Smart Arts.
We are.
I like the fact that when I constructed the title, it's a title that grammatically it doesn't make that grammatically isn't even a word, but that's a word that I would use to say is not that title.
Yeah, but it could work. Could. Yes, literally.
It's not a sentence.
Yeah, but you know what? Neither is Moby Dick. Like, it's not a sentence.
No, but it makes sense.
I guess, if you want to be pedantic about it. Yes. But
so I need to ask the age-old question: what's that beer, Steve?
Oh well, it's funny you should ask. Today, and I specifically got this because I was in the mood for it, I'm drinking a Bolter.
Whoa, what is that?
I quite like Bolter, actually. It's a craft beer, but it's a more established craft beer in the sense that you will find it in almost any bottle shop in town, as opposed to 95% of craft beers where they just sort of make a small amount of them with very fancy labels, and you never see them again. No, this one.
So this is an established one that is sold en masse.
Yeah,
and you've had time to like it.
Yes, I've had it a few times before. I quite like it. I'm just trying to recall who actually makes it. It's made by Independent, apparently.
Is that real, or have they just put that on there to avoid taxes?
I don't know. I'm thinking, if it is real, though, I think that we found somebody who's even worse at coming up with names than us.
Yeah. I didn't know I didn't know you could create a brand name out of a generic word.
I suppose you could.
It's like I make a beer company called Foot.
You know what? I would like to see a beer company called Beer.
Oh my god. There has to be a beer company called Beer. There has to be, right?
You'd think so. It's just dying to have a beer company called Beer.
I think it exists, but no one knows about it, and they're just waiting for someone to buy the rights to the name. I think that's what.
That could be it.
Yeah,
that could be it.
They've snapped up the name. So how is it? How is it going?
Well, I've had it before. I will tell you, it's a Queensland beer from Currumbin.
Oh, I've been to Currumbin.
So, where is it exactly? Just trying to.
Currumbin does that mean there's going to be lorikeet poo in it?
We can only hope. Yeah. Currumbin, Sunshine Coast.
I think so. Yes, it has to be, right? Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Well, I've put it in my Kimberley Crossing stubby cooler, and let's see what the Bolter is like again. It's a pilsner, so it's kind of wheaty, but not very wheaty. I find pale ales like punch you in the face kind of wheaty. Pilsners. It does feel like somebody got a really, like a really rough loaf of bread and then hit you over the head with it. That's what I feel pale ales are like. This is not that.
No, it's more of a mild caress of a loaf of bread.
That's right. It's like somebody got a loaf of bread and just sort of like gently wiped your face with it. As opposed to like, bread, eat it!
So it's like a really bad independent film. And the whole thing is filmed in black and white.
It's a black and white beer.
Yeah, there's this woman with a very, very well-established lipstick on and makeup, and she's just very slowly wiping the bread over your face, like mopping up your tears or something. And that's the beer.
That could be it. And then, and then when she finishes, you say, "I want to kill myself," and that's the film, I think. Or
Finn. Finny.
Yes,
Welcome politely insane race.
The Bolter, I should say, by the way, is 1.4 standard drink. Actually, I just realised won't mean anything to anyone. I'll give the percentage. It's
Isn't that an average number for a can, though?
No. Normally, I find
although that is a small can, so I mean it's slightly more alcoholic than an average pill.
It's more alcoholic. They're usually like 1.2. Here we go. This is 4.9% alcohol, so it's fairly alcoholic.
Yeah. For a beer, that's fairly alcoholic.
For a beer. So yes. Anyway, it's quite nice. They come in packs of 4.
Nice. Well, I'm going to ask a few. I'm going to ask you to start out this because I'm just going to be. I have something to whine about, but I know what's going to happen when I start whining about this sort of shit. Finger's going to come back to me, and I'm going to go, yeah, I can't complain about this. I really can't. So I'm going to ask you a question because this is why. Okay, everyone, this is why we have show notes. Sometimes you might be thinking, oh, okay, Steve and Alex they've just woken up and they don't know what they're doing. And that is only partly true because we do.
Yes, you've woken up, I'm going to bed.
That's right. That is the difference. And also we do have show notes. We do have stuff to talk about. First of all, if anyone remembers what we said last week, oh yeah, that's the other thing I think we should first of all point out. The last break that we had.
Hello, Bloodstained Wings.
Hello, BSW. How are you doing? The last time we spoke to each other, we had the longest period of time apart, and now we've got the shortest period of time apart.
Sorry.
So it's
sorry, I was just overcome for a moment.
I know.
Go on.
So I just wanted to point that out. Second, how's fatherly life going? The first thing that you said to me this morning was, "My child is having a fit on the floor."
Yes, I'm pretty sure this isn't in the show notes. But
no. This is just me saying, "Hey, I'm listening to you, man. I feel for you."
You're too kind. Yes, Alex always messages me at about an hour and a half before the time we're supposed to speak, and goes, "Yep, I'm ready. I'm just sitting here waiting for you." And my child is inevitably throwing a fit on the floor, objecting the unfairness of his bedtime. And I'm like, yeah.
And I empathize. I know what it's like to be that child.
Well, to be fair, he'll I just want to stay up and play, and I get all metaphysical. I'm like, yes, the ticking clock is everyone's enemy, my child. And we'll all redo it as you do, as do I. But
I really hope that you actually said that.
To be fair, I actually said very similar things to that because
yes, I can see you doing that. You being the overly dramatic bastard father that just says,
well,
"Oh, little child."
What I think I actually said to him was, yes, the ticking clock is the enemy of all. That's what I think I actually said to him this evening. But
Wow, that's
yeah,
beautiful. That's beautiful and poetic, and that
yeah.
is why you're one of my heroes. So I have a genuine. I'm going to take one of your points, and I'm just going to specifically ask. We don't talk about games on this podcast, so let's change that. Because we are on Twitch. We are on Twitch. Twitch is a gaming website. So let's talk about games. Darkest Dungeon.
Yes,
Talk
yes.
about Darkest Dungeon, my friend. What's going on?
Sure, it's
Why
funny.
do you want to
I
talk
think
about? Let's see. The exact show notes that say it here is Steven's latest game, and why am I playing it?
that's more of a question that I can't answer. After our last, two conversations which have focused on Lovecraft,
Ah, yes.
I've actually, after I reread Rats in the Walls for last week, I have been rereading a whole lot of these short stories. So I've read with the Pharaohs, which curiously, and I didn't realize this until whenever I read or watch something, I then look it up on Wikipedia to
Yep,
learn a bit
that's
about it.
a fair enough thing to do.
Yeah, and he actually ghost wrote a story for Harry Houdini.
Oh, I didn't know that. Tickle me intrigued.
Yeah, he did.
Tell me what.
He seriously did. What happened was he was So no, apparently he was writing for a magazine called Weird Tales. They were having horrible sales. They somehow got Harry Houdini on. He must have been a bit of a fan, and Houdini told them this tall tale about amazing things that happened to him in Egypt. And they went, oh! And they grabbed Lovecraft, who was one of their more popular writers, and said, could you ghostwrite his story for him? So the story was released under the name of Harry Houdini. And, but yeah, it was kind of funny because I picked this story up and it's going on about how I'm a famous escape artist. And when I was visiting in Egypt and everybody wanted my autograph, I'm like, what? This came out of nowhere. And then, yeah, he wrote it under the name Harry Houdini. But it was a bit because Harry Houdini told him the story. And Lovecraft went, you're making this up, aren't you? He went, yes.
So then he went, you know what? If we're making this up, let's go all the way. If we're going to be a bear, be a grizzly. And then he went insane. Was that true? Was that true? Because
probably. but what Lovecraft said was he just went, well, if we're just going to make it up, do you mind if I make it up?
Yeah, that's right.
And Houdini went, no, knock yourself out. It's like, okay, there we go. So anyway, so it's interesting reading these Lovecraft stories again. Darkest Dungeon is another Lovecraft style game, I would say.
Oh yes, that's right.
Yes, that's how we started on this very long spiel. In fact, I feel like the topic has become duller than its tangents. So
that's okay. That's okay. I am interested. So your interest with Lovecraft made you find Deepest Darkest Dungeon, of whom.
Well, sort of. I've actually played it before. In fact, and this is why I don't know why I'm playing this, and we have to acknowledge that. I've got to finish talking about Darkest Dungeon because, by God damn it, I've been trying to say it for 10 minutes now.
Okay.
I'm going to get it.
I'll leave you alone.
No. I just saw Jim has written an interesting comment, but we'll deal with that.
It's about individuality, and we hear you, Jim, and we'll promise we'll get back to you.
Yes,
let's just try and finish this.
God damn it, if it kills me.
Finish the anecdote, Stephen.
I'm trying. All right. The point is that talking about all this Lovecraft mythos stuff, I was like, Darkest Dungeon. I remember that. That was very Lovecraftian. I'm gonna put it up. And I had this idea about making like a top 10 list of games which actually do the Cthulhu mythos well. And Darkest. So I pulled it out, and I don't know if you game much these days, Alex, but Steam and GOG, they keep track of the number of hours you've spent on a game.
Yes, I do know that, yeah.
I had clocked 130 hours into Dark.
this must be a good game.
I
Or
really liked it. I
was it
finished
good?
it.
Okay. Oh,
Finished it.
okay. There we
And
go.
then I was just found myself playing it again. I'm like, why am I playing this again? I've spent 130 hours on this. Like, that's enough to read War and Peace like 2-3 times. It's
And have you done that?
no, no.
Yeah.
If I'd
See,
done it,
there we
I'd be
go.
smarter than I am.
That's some homework for us.
Yes, why not? I'll do that before I finish Dark Dungeon. But I just thought it's interesting how I think it's a sort of game which gives you the feeling of a little bit of progress every time you play it, and it's playable in bite-sized chunks. So it's very easy. You just pick it up. You can play it for like 10 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever, and then feel like I've achieved something, and then close it down.
Yeah,
And
that's a really one of the scary things that games sometimes do is they give you the feeling that you've accomplished something. And
yes,
the good thing is with or at least how you describe. I haven't played it, but how you describe it. At least Deepest Darkest Dungeon.
it's just Darkest Dungeon.
Oh, okay,
I feel like
Darkest. Okay,
another who,
Darkest.
like, do you like the ecstasy? This sort of incapable of recalling the.
I know, I know. But the thing was
Stevens
Darkest
bought a
Dungeon.
Nintendo. It's called it's PlayStation
That's right.
years ago.
Yeah. What is it? What is
Anyway.
it on by the? Oh yeah, it's on Steam. So it's on.
Oh well, actually, I'm playing it on GOG because I prefer GOG to Steam. But anyway, it's called Darkest Dungeon. Sorry, continue.
Yeah. So you're saying, although it gives you the impression that you're accomplishing something, it doesn't swallow your life as much as, say, Steam. Sorry, as much as other sandbox games, which makes you go, ooh, let's keep on playing into this dark despair that you'll never escape. Um,
Well, I guess it could.
it comes in little chunks, as you say, little tiny bite-sized chunks, like
Well, you
chapters.
see, I think it's that allows you to pick it up and put it down.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
imagine a lot of games you can't do that because you'll forget what you're doing. You really need a big chunk of time in order to play it. Um, and I suppose I don't know if you found this with Minecraft. Like, if I recall, when you were a mad Minecraft fan, did listeners, did you realize that Alex once had a project, and I'm intrigued to hear how far you got in it, of recreating the Tate Modern in Minecraft?
Oh, yeah. No, I did that twice.
You did it twice.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
right.
The
That's
first
impressive.
the first one had recreations of modern artworks, like
It had a lot of Rothko in it.
uh,
'Cause
yeah,
he
there
did do
was
in
the first.
Minecraft.
Yeah, the first one had a lot of Rothko and a lot of Donald Judd because they were, um, depending on your definition, um, abstract expressionists or minimalists. So it was very easy to construct things in Minecraft for them because it's just blocks, just squares and things. So I like that. The second time I worked on the Tate Modern, it was I thought, hey, screw it, let's just create block by block famous artworks, pixelated. So I created 8 gigantic paintings, recreated using tiny pixels. And I was really proud of that, despite the fact that it didn't actually exist. It was in this fantasy land. I felt like I had accomplished something. I felt like I had actually constructed a gigantic collection of paintings for the Tate Modern. I felt really good. And then I was kicked off the server, and then I felt really bad. So, yeah, never got back into it
Dear.
as seriously after that.
In a
So,
sense, such is life. Such is life.
that is life. So, Jim, I don't know if you are still there,
Yes.
but
So that was a very long time.
that was a very
Um,
long time between, writing that down and me. responding to it. But what has become of
What has
individuality? When did it become popular to let the the collective shallow creativity and regulate the same hive mind spiel? How to think, what to say, how you are. Will the human race overcome this, or slowly atrophy to colorless? Okay. Colorless.
do you want to give the first take on this, Alex, or shall I?
I'm trying to pull this down to its simplest points here. The basic fear that's coming out of Jim, and I don't think Jim actually is scared of this. I think it's just a experiment. I think it's just a thought experiment to just throw at the hosts, which is us. The question is
I
about,
have an answer.
Okay, yeah. Well, the question is basically about creativity in contrast towards how the general output of what the arts have, of what we have at the moment in the media world, and there's several. I mean, what do you consider original? If you want to construct something original, I can give you a whole heap of things that are original. Will you want to watch that? Maybe not. Yeah. Okay. So now that I've thought about it, the reason why we have repeating trope, the reason why we have tropes at all that constantly come up in any form of media, whether it be games or TV or movies, is because they work. We get it. We get them. We understand them. We say, "Oh, okay. This fade in means that time has passed." As just an example.
Yeah.
Looking at a person while they're not speaking means that they are thinking. And these are not things that we have built in our heads. These are things that movies and TV shows have evolved into, so we recognize them. So that's why using established tricks and tropes and things like that are used constantly. And no, they are not original. But it's good that they're not, because then we can understand them and relate to them. That's where it is. And that's why we do have an originality in that particular aspect. I don't think that's what ultimately you're thinking of, Jim, who probably isn't here.
Probably. But, it's still an interesting point. I suppose, look, I agree with you. I would put... I guess I would answer the question as thus. First, the question there is, well, when did it become popular to do this? And I would answer, it has always been as popular as it is today.
Yeah.
That's just humanity. That's just what people are like. And if you go back 300 years and if you read Robin Hood stories, if you read King Arthur stories, they're very similar. Or if you read, if you pull out a whole lot of, any sort of, like Beowulf or, these old Norse stories, you pull them all out, there's a lot of similarity there. Actually, perfect example. I read, Homer's Iliad and Odyssey a while back.
Oh, you didn't. You read Homer's Odyssey?
I did. Yeah. I read them both. I read Odyssey twice, actually. And I really enjoyed them. I had a good. It really helps. I didn't read them in Greek.
You had a proper belly laugh. That Homer.
But one of the things that they pointed, because I read some commentary, and one of the things they pointed out is they said, look, they said there probably never was a Homer.
Sure.
What these are is oral tradition, and you can tell that some of these, these people would stand up and go, hey, I've got a great story to tell, and it's about the 7 Years' War in Troy. And then they'd just start, and they'd tell parts of the story. And, this is this part of that story. But what they would do is they would have like just random battle scenes committed to memory, and they just shove them in. So because the entertainers used to go from place to place, so they were just reciting the same battle in completely different times, places, locations, contexts. It didn't matter. And if people had heard that thing before, like they didn't care really. Like they just, they were familiar. It was like, I guess, having a pre-cut action scene just with two guys having a sword fight and then slapping it into random action flicks.
Yeah.
But of course,
That's a beautiful example of just unoriginality, or at least that sort of the way these are shown, just has been it's existed.
We've always done it,
thousands of years, and that's not a bad thing. It means that we evolve, but we understand each other. We kind of go, this is how you tell a story.
It's got its pluses and minuses, obviously, but I suppose when, I think when you ask questions like this, the question is less.
It's a very broad question.
But
it's
more,
an incredibly broad question.
Why are we like this? Why do people do this?
So the question is why?
It is. Yeah, it's very tempting to assume that, that in the past people behaved differently, that we were more creative, that we didn't have these flaws that we have today, that politicians told the truth.
No. It was never that good.
It's just never like that.
There was never an old days that we can go back to. Make insert thing here great again. No, it was never. It was never that great. But we find original things that we like, which seems to stick out to us, and we all have. If you ask a person, what is your favorite film? What is your favorite book? What is your favorite comic? What's your favorite TV show? Every person will have a separate answer, and every person will have their idea of that. This stuck out for me.
I've always thought it
causes. Yeah, that's originality right there. It's not something that is different from everything else. It's something that stands out to one particular person, and it makes it special for you. So, my answer that you never asked for, Jim. My answer to you is you'll find original things. You'll find things that really connect to you. You'll find them. They're all there. You just need to look for things that you like, and you'll get them. You will get them.
True.
And I assure you, those things that you will like, those things that are original, those things that are just seem to stick out like a sore thumb, have got a whole heap of things that have been recycled, a whole heap of things that have been borrowed, and that's not a bad thing. Because otherwise, what's going to happen is you're going to see an experimental film that's filled with flashing lights and say, oh, look, this is original. Yeah, that's true. I haven't seen that before. And
it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. 2 hours of the color green. I mean, it doesn't, I admit, I haven't seen that before. But I don't think anyone else would want to see it.
Well, I'm sure Jim has long since departed.
He has, yes, but we answered your question nonetheless, Jim, and we thank you for it. Speaking, okay, now I think I was a fair man at that point. I think we both were. I think we interacted quite well there. I'm going to start ranting now.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
Next time we set this up, I'm going to have to try and keep my... The thing about the 1.4 standard drinks to a can is that you finish and you really want another.
Yes, you finished that can already, have you?
Well, I've nearly finished it, but it's
I
just
think
the
you should
right
get
level.
another beer. That's what you should do. You need to get another beer.
Is this a thing that's acceptable? Because
it's acceptable. Yeah, sure. I'll just sit here and play the ukulele for our audience.
Okay. All right, Alex. Tell me your rant. If I go to
It's not so much a rant; it's
Alter.
more of a ask that, Steve, pull me aside and tell me it's okay sort of position.
It's
Um,
okay, Alex.
thank you,
There.
thank you, thank you. Um, man, okay, so a few years ago, I asked on Facebook generally,
Mm. Yes.
anybody sick of superhero movies? And one man stuck his metaphorical hand up and said, "Yes, I'm sick of superhero movies, and I don't even care if Spider-Man's in it or not." And that was
Is
you.
that me?
You said that, yeah.
Right. Yeah. Thought so. Yeah.
Even if you don't remember writing
No,
that, you'd probably
I
go,
don't remember writing it. I just thought that sounds like the sort of
"That
so.
sounds like the sort of thing I would say." And I sort of still have that position. There's the thing. I really got over it, and then Deadpool happened. And I
Mm.
watched it, and I actually really enjoyed it. It was a movie that made fun of superheroes while at the same time just having fun and just not caring about how much violence happened in it, and I really enjoyed it. So I don't mind. And then Deadpool 2 happened. So basically, I've been pulled back into the superhero genre, which I'm a little disappointed at. But if I see a trailer for a movie that I know I'm going to be tired at, I won't see it. It's as simple as that. If don't I don't like
Mm.
the idea of complaining about movies because you don't need to watch them. Very few times
Oh.
I will get angry at movies. Um, but I do get angry at at people though, and there's this weird evolution that has happened with quote geek culture that
Yes.
seemed to have risen from the grave, and while we as geeks, you know, um,
Yes.
came
Do
up
you
from
remember
the
when it was?
2000s, and
Mm.
said, no, it's okay to embrace things that are sort of childlike and sort of obscure and geeky. Let's embrace that. And that
I
culture,
remember being made fun of in high school because I had a Chewbacca.
yeah. See,
Yeah.
we grew up in that era, but
Yeah.
kids these days are growing up in this new era where it's you're a weird person if you don't have a Chewbacca t-shirt, which
It's
I've got no
true.
real problem with. It's just strange. Um, what I do genuinely find weird is
Mm.
that there's a lot of people who are analyzing the wrong things about TV shows. Um, all right, what got me thinking about this is that the trailer for the new Spider-Man movie came up.
Oh. Okay.
Okay, whatever the
Yep.
newest one was, and there's this Kevin Smith reaction video. Now, I love Kevin Smith. I will
Yes.
watch anything that he does. I will watch anything that he says because while he's quite the man child, he is entertaining, and I love him to pieces.
Mm.
And while he was watching the trailer, he got really excited. He got really excited about one thing, and that was
Mm.
that Mysterio has a bobblehead, dome head. He went, "Oh my god, that's the bobblehead! It's a bobblehead thing! Oh my god, we have
Yeah.
bobblehead! We have goldfish bowl as a head!
He has the
Huzzah!"
goldfish. Yeah.
And I thought, okay, that's. I mean, that's a strange thing to. Um, there are stranger things to be excited about, but I just found it odd that that's your number one on priority. You know.
I think it's because it took a very long time before people started making comic book movies where they actually used the images out of the comic books.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, it took quite a while. They made the X-Men films, but even when they were making them, they didn't use the X-Men costumes. They made new ones. So, I don't think it was until what was the first of the X-Men films?
That
Sorry, no,
was X-Men
the
1.
Avengers films.
Oh,
No. The first of the Avengers
oh, the
films.
newest ones. Yeah, that was Iron Man, wasn't it?
Probably. So, like, you didn't have. So, like, you've got Captain America flag,
Yeah.
right? But you didn't put Wolverine in yellow spandex, probably because somebody, I imagine some director or producer looked at that and went, "Yeah, that looks kind of stupid.
Mm.
Let's not do that. It looks ridiculous." But when they started doing it, it was exciting. And the goldfish, I know the character Mysterio, the goldfish bowl head thing. It's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. And I guess probably Kevin Smith is just excited that somebody has gone there, has committed to take the comic book images, put them in the films. Don't change them, put them in the films. That's probably what he's excited at. But look, I agree with you that it is a weird thing to get that excited about,
Yeah. It's we live in a very strange place
We do.
where we're kind of rewarded for being a man-child.
Well,
I shouldn't say things like that because I'm definitely not the person to point fingers. I'm just finding it.
It's fun.
I'm just finding it exhausting. That's all.
It's funny, I suppose. After saying that the thing about Jim's comment earlier, humanity being like, it doesn't mean that it doesn't get. I personally I find this an example of where it gets tedious because those superhero movies are all the same.
Yeah.
All the same.
Yeah.
And look, hell, I run a retro gaming. Okay, I'm very geeky. I've got a massive RPG.
I've got a hell of a load of comics in my bedroom.
Yeah, but after the 20th time, I think I saw, person discovers miraculous gift, has to learn to come to terms with it, embraces power by fixing personality flaw, meets evil version of their own power, defeats an evil version of their own power by embracing the fixing of their personality flaw and wins.
Yeah, when I was watching Doctor Strange, and I knew I wouldn't really enjoy it, but I wanted to watch it because Tilda Swinton and Benedict Cumberbatch were in it, and I watched it and I thought, for a movie that's made about wizards and sorceresses and just magic in general, this is very much like Iron Man.
Oh, they're all the same.
They are.
Look, I've enjoyed them. I still watch them all, but to be honest, I think I've got to the point where I'm watching them out of some weird form of geek loyalty.
I know, right? It's this absurdity that we feel like we're. I saw Batman versus Superman not because I knew it was going to be a good movie. It wasn't a good movie. I watched it because I thought I kind of owe this to my 10-year-old self. Yeah. And so I saw it and I thought, okay, all right, 10-year-old self. Now you go to bed now. You've had your sweets. We don't need this anymore. We don't need this for a long time. And my 10-year-old self got a bit excited and said, "Oh, Justice League. Let's watch Justice League." And I said, "No. You had your desserts. Now go to bed. Stop that." and I didn't let my
I
10-year-old
watched
self
Justice
see
League.
Justice League. And turns out
I watched
it was a
Justice
good
League.
idea not to. Turns out it was a terrible film.
Justice League was not a terrible film. It's just a very, very average.
Okay, all right. I take
Miss
that
anything
back.
by missing it.
I didn't miss anything. Is what
No,
you're
you
saying.
didn't miss anything.
Oh.
I think I fell asleep at some point.
Yeah, fair enough.
So Batman v Superman was a terrible film. To be fair, actually, it's possibly a good example. Why do people keep doing the same thing over and over again? Well, Batman v Superman, I think, was trying to tread a whole lot of new ground. It was trying to have a new take on, that's never been done cinematically.
No, but it has been done in cartoons a lot.
It has, but I mean, this whole idea of, Batman is becoming, Superman's vaguely fascist, or Batman becoming more and more unhinged, and and this sort of thing. Like, it's never been done in film, so I think Batman v Superman was trying to do something new, and it didn't work, and that's why it was such a bad film. Justice League, it felt like somebody back in Warner Brothers went, okay, all of this weird shit, it stops. Okay, let's just make a standard film with a very standard MacGuffin glowy thing, and that's it. And that is the film they made. And as a result, Justice League is not shit. It's just
there.
It's just there. And that's it. Like, when you try and create something completely original, you run the very real risk that it will be horrible. If you use the established ones, well, you remove the risk.
Yeah, that is true. So it looks like we have a theme tonight, and that's originality. So I have a good segue. I have a good thing to
yes, please do.
First of all, as we suggested last week, that we watch Velvet Underground. I saw it. I thought it was brilliant, and I have my opinions upon it. But I want to watch it.
Yes,
I want to watch it again. And I want you to watch it as well. So we'll put a pin in that and come back to it next week.
I really want to watch it. Excellent.
Yes, thank you. My God, it is good, and I really want you to watch it.
I thought you'd like it.
Oh my God.
I saw it and it was like, oh yeah.
Oh, geez.
This has got Alex written all over it.
Yes, it is. It's got Alex written. Yeah, it still does. So I want to watch it again. Anyway, what we've been complaining about, and sort of championing at the same time, we want to acknowledge this, is originality and unoriginality. Okay.
Yeah.
This is the theme for today. This is the word of today, kids. Originality. Originality. Now, if you want some form of original game, that, my God, you cannot. I don't think I've seen a game that's this original. In fact, it's really hard for me to really call it a game.
Yes.
And I'm surprised that I actually paid money for this, but in a weird, curious, superficial, possibly pretentious kind of way. I'm glad that I did. I think it just cost £1 or lower.
I love pretentious games.
It's called Mountain.
Oh.
Have you heard of this?
Oh, yeah. Is this that one that's really hard, and you're a character holding a sledgehammer trying to climb a mountain?
No. Good guess. Good guess. No, that is Getting Over It. I have that game as well.
Right.
And I'd suggest you buy that game as well, but for a different reason. That is what you would call a game. It's a hard game, but it's a game. No, Mountain is barely a game. It's not even. I wouldn't even call it that, but it's in that category because you can buy it on Steam. You are a mountain. You don't go. You don't climb up a mountain. You don't look at a mountain. No, you are a mountain. Now, what do mountains do, Steve?
They tend to grow moss.
Yeah. Sure. They don't do anything.
Yeah, they sit there.
They're mountains. They are.
That's
Their
true.
job is to be
Oh,
there.
no. They visit Mohammed.
Oh, they visit Muhammad. Right. No. Well, they
Yes.
only that
But
doesn't
apart
even
from
happen.
that.
No. You're
Ah.
a floating mountain in the middle of space.
Yep.
That's it. You rotate very slowly, and you can use a camera angle to look around and see the mountain.
Okay.
That's it. Everyone's waiting for me to bring up plot and goals, controls. Even no, you're just the mountain floating in space. You can zoom out, you can zoom in, you can look around. That's it. You're a mountain.
Okay.
And
Sounds like
every
a
now
very
and then,
bad practical joke.
I think someone did make a practical joke, and I kind of appreciate that in a stupid way. Every now and then, inspirational quotes pop up on the screen, and out of frustration,
Yes. Yes.
you or I or anyone would start bashing keys, which is what I did. And you can make
Yeah.
music. You can go bing, bing, bong, boom, boom, bing, bing, bong. And that's the most interactive you can get in this game. You can just make little MIDI sounds in Mountain, and you watch the sunrise and sunset. You can watch the stars come out, and tiny mountain animals walk over the mountain, and you can watch the weather change from rainy to snowy. You can watch the seasons change. You just keep on watching, and there it is. I don't know how many hours I've been put into Mountain, the game. I don't think it's even one. I think I just watch it out of a morbid curiosity to say this can't be it. Surely there's something more to this. No, that's it.
There you go. You should Google it, see what comes up.
Oh yeah, I did Google it. I because you can't help but Google it. You go, okay, let's see if this is it. And as time progresses, rubbish appears on Mountain. Like a straw appears, and then a
Is it
car.
an environmental message, is it?
If it's an environmental message, that message is lost. Things just appear. You are a thing. Things just appear. And
Okay.
that's it. And so what can I get out of that? Well, if you've been confused, if you're frustrated about individuality and creativity not being creative enough, just buy Mountain and just play it for a while, and you realize, this is why we have rules. This is why we have standards as to what a movie is or a game is or something. At the very least, this is why Justice League exists. Because if you're left with nothing to pull out of, you get Mountain. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I was refreshed by seeing Mountain. Mountain gave me nothing, but I didn't ask for anything either. So sure.
That's awesome. There you go.
So that's my. I don't even think that was a review. Was that a review?
Yeah, I think it kind of was.
I think I gave that a review. I don't even.
Yeah, I think you gave it a review. Actually, this is excellent. Okay, so
you have a segue. You have a segue.
I have a segue. So you were just talking about, your review of the game Mountain, right? Now, I really like that review because you didn't score it out of 10.
Oh yeah, people do that, don't they?
I hate that. I hate it so very, very much.
I do as well, because I don't know how I could rate Intermountain. How do you do that?
Well, yeah, exactly. That like it doesn't tell you anything. The thing that gets me about it when people say, "Oh, I like, I score all of my games out of 10 or out of 100, and then I can look on Metacritic, and figure out which one is best by the 0.1%." It's there's actually a scene in Dead Poets Society that makes fun of this concept.
Yeah,
right?
I've forgotten which. Okay, which scene is that? I love that.
Well, it's the scene is it's fairly early on, and you see they're referring to poetry.
Yes. Oh yeah. No. Oh yeah. The graph thing.
Yes, and he's referring. Okay, this is how you figure out the mathematical thing about scoring poetry on a graph. And he goes, "No, like you can't score. You cannot.
How do you do that? No.
Yeah, no, that doesn't make any sense. You can't do that. Poetry doesn't work that way." And
I've done
poetry.
it. I've given films stars and stuff because I particularly like them or particularly hate them. Because we tend to do that all the time. But a lot of the time, I just don't know what to think about a film.
Well, it doesn't really work. So, like,
yeah, it's not as helpful as you might think it is.
Yeah, like your review of Mountain, for example, you can't score it out of 5 or out of 10. Like, you can describe what the experience is.
Yeah.
And if that sounds interesting to you, then great. And if it doesn't, well then, okay. But you can't, when you score it 1 out of 5, that, it signifies that it's a bad game, but that's not really what you're saying. And conversely, of course, scoring at 5 out of 5 is not accurate either. It's not.
No,
it's not.
I don't really want to rate this game because I don't know if it's a game.
Well, the thing is, I don't think the mere fact that something is a game makes it amenable to being numerically calculated.
That's not the problem we're telling here. Yeah, you're right.
So it's just like you did a visual art degree. I did one in drama, and I'm sure in your visual arts degree, as it was in my drama, we talked about hundreds of works which we studied in across all different movements and themes and so on, and not once did we ever rate them out of 10.
No, that's a good point.
No, nobody ever went.
When you're at school and you do a book report, you don't rate it out of 5 stars.
Yeah, it's just that nobody ever went. Mayakovsky was a Russian playwright, and this is famous Bedbug, and I rate it 83.5. Because I'd score it more, but it doesn't have replay value. What? What are you on?
Oh my god!
It doesn't work that way.
No.
And
somehow games and movies have fallen into that weird trap.
I'm a big fan of video games, and I suppose I take the art form. I consider it an art form, and I take it seriously.
Yeah,
and
do I.
Yeah, and I don't think if you're scoring it out of 10 like it's a bloody math test,
yeah,
take it seriously. That was that's my rant on review score.
That was beautiful, Stephen. I think more people need to be aware of that. Absolutely. Let me go past here. Speaking of geeky things.
Oh yes.
Yeah. Oh man. How much time shall we calculate to have? Because there's 2 things I want to bring up here.
Well, I think our longest show ever has been 90 minutes. Should not extend 90 minutes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think the best segue to use in that case would be this point that you've made, which is that your wife is watching Arrow. It's glorious in its awfulness and predictable with its increasing number of complications. Let's have a conversation, Stephen.
All right. This segues very well. So, as we've got a new child,
Yes.
My wife has been watching quite a lot of TV, and we've got a Netflix subscription because it's cheap as chips and
Oh yeah, I
handy when you're.
suggested that a bit, didn't I? I said, "Hey, why don't you get a Netflix subscription?"
Actually, I got it because I got it to watch Bird Box.
Ah,
That's why
yes,
I got.
that's right. Yeah, and turns out it was a really good investment.
It's a lot of fun. But anyway, so I came home one day and she said, "Oh, I've been watching this TV show, Arrow." I'm like, "Okay, what's this?" And she said, "Oh, it's about this guy who spends, he's a rich." She said, he's a rich boy and he spends like 5 years. He's a rich playboy, but then he's on some plane which gets shot down on an island, and he spends 5 years trapped on an island, and he meets some like warrior monk type thing who teaches him to be a badass, and then he comes back and he's like, saving criminals and stuff with a secret identity. And I'm like, that sounds an awful lot like a comic strip. It's
Oh,
like,
sorry,
no.
whoa, what was that? Sorry, sounds like what?
I said, it sounds an awful lot like a comic book.
Yeah.
He said, "Oh, look, it's obviously a Batman ripoff, but it's no. It's not a comic book. It actually sounds like a Count of Cristo rip, to be honest. But but it sounds like a comic strip." Yes, no, it's definitely not. I looked it up. It's green.
Sorry.
It's Green Arrow, and
It's Green Arrow. It's Green Arrow. It's Green Arrow.
it's the hero Green Arrow, but it's hilarious when I sat down and watching it the first time. She goes, "Look, it's trash, but I'm enjoying it." Okay,
Hey, there's
and
nothing wrong with that.
that's true. And the first, so Green Arrow turns up, and his secret identity is the Green. Oh no, he's called the Vigilante in
Yeah, he's
season
green.
1.
He's called the Vigilante first. Yeah,
Yes,
or the Green
but
Hood or
he's
something. I
wearing.
don't know.
Oh yeah, so he's wearing his old. He's wearing a disguise in the way that superheroes in the 50s wore disguises.
Yes.
He doesn't have a mask.
No,
right?
not at first. No, he puts green face paint on.
Face paint, is it? I thought it was eyeshadow. It's just this guy running around with green eyeshadow shooting.
I'm glad that I think there was a criminal who tried to disguise his face by just spray painting his face gold one time.
I imagine that would make it difficult to to escape undetected. Yes.
Same thoughts.
Yeah. But the
I
thing
saw
that
the first season, and it was.
Oh, did you?
It was okay.
Oh, yeah. Look, it was fun. But the thing, one of the things is that it's like it's a contest between chins, because
Excuse me?
yes, every male who is a main character in that film has an incredibly defined chin.
Right. I haven't seen it for a while. I believe you. I just can't remember anything about large chins.
Every now and again, no, they're just very defined.
Not large, just defined.
Yeah, not like large, just very sharp and fine.
Gotcha. Right. Like they're going to have a sword fight with their chins.
Yes, that's that type of thing, and
Right.
it's just very funny when you see like two the protagonist and the antagonist having a serious argument, and that sort of restrained violence thing that they always do, and it looks like they're having a chin off because there's just these very sharp chins. I could just imagine turning the volume off and my chin is far more impressive than yours. Your chin, my chin. My chin has defeated hundreds of chins before us.
Yeah. There's always some sort of defining feature, but that two main characters always have to do, and there's always this sort of scowling look that they absolutely need to do. Like it's great. I think this is why I'm looking forward to Good Omens so much.
Oh yeah, you said There's a Good Omens movie coming soon.
Yeah, either it's a movie or a TV show. I don't know. What's annoying is it's not on Netflix. It's on Amazon Prime, which I really should sign up to because Amazon's kind of my boss. But
Oh, I
I
didn't
haven't
know
bothered
that.
yet. Um, yeah,
Well, they're not
Twitch
giving
is
you a
owned by
discount. So.
Amazon, and I sell books on Amazon. So Amazon's kind of my boss.
Oh.
Maybe I should sign up to Prime, but I don't want to. But I really
I
do.
don't think Amazon's gonna care. Like
No,
I
Amazon
think
doesn't care. Amazon's this big global monster that it doesn't even want to eat you. It's just there as a presence. It's an omnipresence that everyone just knows about. It's a giant landlord with a broom handle saying, "Okay, you guys doing all right? Okay, I'm watching you. You're paying your payments on time and buying everything through me. All right, that's fine. But I'm watching you." That's Amazon. And he doesn't care whether you do Prime or not. But that's beside the point. The point is, I'm looking forward to Good Omens because the antagonist and the protagonist are best mates.
from memory, their former best mates, very stereo. Professor X and Magneto used to be close friends. Kind of way.
Yeah, that sort of thing. So they're happy to do. They're happy to play chess, etc.
It'll be it'll be pretty cool actually. I can't remember much about Good Omens, but I remember I did really like it. Um, and I do remember while I was reading it, it felt like um, you could tell which paragraphs were written by Neil Gaiman,
Yes.
by
That
Terry
was a good
Pratchett.
game when I was reading it. I think, wow, is this done by Neil or Terry? Ah, yes, I recognize that pattern. Yeah, that's fair. And some of them are not so easy to realize. Um, so yeah, I'm looking forward to because David Tennant does a good sort of icy stare with a sort of chin off sort of thing. He could do that, but I don't think he will for this one. I think he's just there to have fun. And good for you, David Tennant, because you like to have fun. So
It's true. And turn into a chin off.
yeah, I have one more point that you wanted me to talk about.
Oh yes.
Banksy.
Oh yes. I put this on special.
Yeah. Now let me take down.
You'd be interested.
Hang on a tick. Yeah, there we go. Banksy artwork on Welshman's garage draws 20,000 visitors, leaves him in free fall. Basically, Banksy, of whom I don't think we need to explain who Banksy is, he put this fantastic mural on his garage, and now people keep on doing terrible things like turn up to his garage and take photographs. And he doesn't know how to handle. He's scared, Stephen. He's scared.
Yes. It's just
The owner of the garage that has become canvas for Banksy's latest work says he can't cope with the attention that has brought onto the suburban street. It's I've been stressed. It's like a bomb on me. I just like the bit of normality back in my life, like it used to be, sure. And that's what it looks like right now. The council has put up fencing, so now it looks just ugly. I want to point out first of all the absolute absurdity that's going on here. A graffiti artist turns up and puts stuff on the wall and encourages thousands of people to come forth and just look at it. This is not usual. This is not a usual thing that happens. So much so. Do you know why the fencing's up? Did you read this article?
I did read the article, but please tell me why the fence. I assume
the fencing is up.
People stealing it?
Yes. The fencing is up because people are trying to chip off bits of it and run off with it, which is not an unusual thing that happened because, Banksy's a big name. He puts up things for free. So therefore, a lot of people are going, oh, this is out in public. So therefore, I have full right to steal it. Chip, 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 chip. Boom, off I go. No, don't do that, people. Don't do that. You have made things a lot worse, and I don't think I need to explain why. So it's this is insane. This shed is now clearly thousands of pounds higher in value because of this artwork. It really is. In fact, it's a mural, so there's a good chance it might, I don't know, go into the hundreds of thousands now. It's becoming really, really famous, so there's a very good chance within a decade it will be $1 million. You know what? I empathize with him because I empathize with this farmer because no one wants this responsibility. This is stupid. But at the same time, you have this responsibility now. I know this is stupid. I really do understand that it's stupid. But Banksy's in the zeitgeist at the moment. Feel free to exploit it. I know you don't want to, but please do so. You need to take this on. All of this is so. I know it is ridiculous and sort of embarrassing. I know, but try to take it on. Try to make this your own. What's his name? What's his name? This farmer. Mr. Lewis.
Lewis,
yeah, whatever. So, Mr. Lewis, I'm sorry this happened to your farm, but I'm sure you can find some way to sell it. Why not sell it? Retire. Have a good time.
Could you? Like, I mean, I know physically you can, but who wants?
I mean, you could. I mean, sell the farm or the shed or the area around it.
Well, I mean, you can sell the shed. I suppose you could sell the shed and get, come and take it away.
Oh, you could do that. Yeah, I don't know how you could.
Yeah, because the thing is,
there's a way to do everything.
You're going to sell it to, I don't know. I don't think there's many art space in the gallery for a shed.
Yes, there is. Yes, there is. There are a lot of art collectors who have got space for a giant shed, or at least a portion of the shed. Let's face it, you don't need the full thing.
No, you don't. You just take like part of it. I suppose it is the sort of thing, particularly if Banksy is, is it Zeitgeist or Zeitgeist?
Zeitgeist.
Oh,
Zeitgeist. It's this German thing that means, in the now.
Spirit of the moment. Yeah. Zeitgeist. I could see, some extremely wealthy person going, I want a shed which has a Banksy painting. I'm going to put it in my, put it in the back of my, put it out the back.
My something.
I don't know.
I'm going to buy a shed and put it in the bigger shed.
If I were him, I think I would sell it.
If I was him, I'd sell it too. Yeah.
Because, realistically,
out of my farm. Get out of here.
A, not just the money. B, not just the time and the energy that is invoked. But the thing is, C, sooner or later, somebody is going to steal it.
Yeah. So you might as well just cash in on this point. If
you might as well sell it while you can.
If you're part of this big thing, which I know is annoying, but just take advantage of it and then find a way to get out. What I'm scared. What's the alternative is the destruction of it.
You'd feel like there'd be certain people who just couldn't handle the stress.
And I can thoroughly understand that. This story will break your heart. A friend of mine went to see Shakespeare's house. I don't know if it wasn't his London lodgings. It was his
Stratford
upon Avon. uh,
Yeah.
lodgings, and she managed to go to his dad's house. He managed to go
Uh,
to his boss, several places where he worked and stuff like that, but he couldn't go to the place where he lived because that was demolished. Why?
oh.
Because the person who lived in that house, the person who owned it in the 1900s, were really sick
Yeah.
of people turning up to his house and going, "Ooh, this is Shakespeare's house." So what did he do? Demolished it. There could have
Oh,
been better ways to deal with that situation, man.
yes. Oh my lord. Oh, it's just people though, isn't it? I
Yeah,
mean,
it's just, I mean, people are annoying, but you can take on people. Trust me, you can take on people.
there are better reactions.
Yeah.
Um, wow.
So
Okay.
while this is not in the realm of a historical landmark, it is still a landmark now,
Yeah.
and there are ways to deal with this situation that does not end in tragedy. Um,
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
love
that's very true.
I'd love this to happen to me. But anyway, there's all the absurd points that I wanted to point out in that situation, and
Fair enough.
I
Fair
I love
enough.
this. I love this story. It's cool. Um, well, I think that's all me
Fun.
for this week.
Is it? I have. I just realised if you have one last
Yeah,
to
you go for it.
talk about, it's well, I wrote a little this week. I wrote a blog post.
a pod
Um,
post.
no, a blog
Oh, a
post.
blog post. So, sorry,
Sorry,
sometimes it
I have
come in and out.
2.8 beers, and this is what happens. Um, I wrote a blog post because another blogger asked me this question, which I thought was really interesting, which was, um, what is an artwork that you liked as a child, but you loved as an adult?
Like as a child, but absolutely love as an adult.
Yeah, yeah. And I
I don't
chose,
have an answer for that, but I'm sure you do.
I do, because I wrote something on. I wrote a post which I said, "Don't have one." The end. Um, and I chose, and that's why I'm interested in familiar with it. One of the paintings out of Sydney Noland Kelly paintings.
Yes,
You know the Kelly.
yep. Sydney, no, I'm gonna look this up so I can put it on the
Yes. Well,
screen.
actually,
Sydney
you can.
Nolan.
In fact, it's possibly easiest if you just do a search for my blog. It's got the painting on it of
Oh,
this in
okay.
front of.
Ah, yes, that one. Yes, hang on. Let me turn on. Right, this delightful piece, and I like this too.
Yes, it's called the Death of Constable Scanlon.
Yeah, and you
And
have, I think you have a print of it, or at least your parents had a print of it.
my parents have a print of it, and that was why. It was just kind of funny actually because I can't imagine buying a print of that, framing it and hanging it in my lounge room. Um, but my parents did, and so yes. Anyway, that's part of the paint.
Yeah, here it is. I'm just
And it
gonna.
was kind of funny. I suppose I wanted to mention this to you because I was a bit. What, if anything, you had to say about these paintings?
Mm,
Because they were made. The series was made in 46 to 47.
yep. Okay.
And as a child, the thing I loved about that pose was that, the simple fact that, Ned Kelly looks like a hero. Like he's like a superhero.
Yeah, he does look a
So,
bit like. You're right. Yeah, he looks heroic there. Just off. He's like an Iron Man.
yeah, he's like an Iron Man. Like, exactly. In fact, at first I didn't, that it was an armor suit, not like
Sure.
Iron Man. But when I learnt that, I still thought that was cool because, like, he had a mask.
Sure.
Um,
Okay.
the whole thing, just like superhero. And of course, coming back as an adult, the thing that I think I find this is my question for you, Alex. I suppose,
Yeah.
is make of A, this painting, and B, the series. And I guess what I will say is what I like about it, and secondly, what the National Gallery has to say about
Okay, yeah, I'm interested as
the
to what
series.
the National Gallery has to say. Yeah, because that I'm sure
Yes.
is different.
Oh yes, yes. So, well, as an adult, one of the things what I really like about it is about the story of Kelly, the Australian bushranger. But Kelly, like any real person, is a complex figure.
Yes, some he's a hero, some he's an outlaw,
Yeah,
etc. We've all heard the
so on and so forth. But what I think Nolan is doing is that um, he's making the story mythic. He's not,
sure.
he's not trying to be realistic. He's making it. It's like iconography, an epic story. He's making Kelly bigger than human. He's making these events like almost like religious stories, like something. Or I know Beowulf isn't a religious story, but something like that, like Grendel's mother, this kind of thing. Um, and so with this painting, I feel the way that he conveys this, because he does it in this very simple, stylized manner that I feel conveys a lot of depth. So, for example, beginning with Kelly. So Kelly is depicted in this very striking but very simplistic, flat, two-dimensional manner.
It is basically the opposite of an action shot. He is
Yes.
the
Yeah,
It is
yeah.
a very, very two-dimensional shot. He's not pointing a gun, he's holding a gun.
That's right. Yeah, and it's odd that you see Kelly's two-dimensional, and of course Scanlon is two-dimensional in a sense, but he's more three-dimensional than Kelly
Yeah,
because Scanlon is a definition with the beard and the face. But like the rest of the painting has dimensions. Those
yeah,
trees, for example, like you can see there's a definition between the foreground and the side of the tree. The trees quite clearly are round, they're not flat. So it makes Kelly stand out. It makes him something supernatural. And the way that he's holding the gun and the expression in the eyes, they're both very simplistic, but you'll notice he's holding the gun in a resting position.
yes, yes,
He's
yes, yes.
he's not angry. And the thing I find remarkable, um, regret, not sadness or anger, despite the
You
fact that
see,
he's
you
just.
see regret in this.
Yeah, I see regret in
Mm-hmm.
the eyes. And if I turn then to Scanlon, the juxtaposition of Scanlon and the horse interesting because Scanlon is, there's no wound on Scanlon, despite the fact that he's been shot. And I think the look of surprise on his face indicates that he's unpleasant, but there's no, gross wound on the body. He looks like
Mm-hmm.
he's a heart attack. Um, so it doesn't make it doesn't make anything about what impulsive.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm just
but
I'm trying to figure
yeah,
out what things that are in the painting that are done on purpose and ones that are just done because of a limited style that he's got. He purposefully has done this style. So I'm
I
wondering if you're reading into the regret
mm,
because of how it's painted when really I feel, and I'm probably wrong, but I feel like it's just the limited palette that Nolan has to draw the eyes.
could
So
could be.
that's how I
I
see it.
genuinely don't know.
I'm glad that you see regret because uh, that's not a bad thing to see. I think that's uh, a good attribute that this painting has. That it does actually have emotion, even though it is limited. The first thing that I see is the style, because I am a painter, and I go, okay, cool. We've got this weird juxtaposition of it's an awkward painting. It's an awkward painting, and that's what I like about it. The rules seem to be out the window. We've got the focus seems to be on the sergeant who has been shot, who's been flung off his horse. Ned Kelly is. I don't think he's seen. He's not seen. I don't think he's seen as a villain or. I think he's there to represent the legend that is Kelly. That is Ned Kelly.
Yes, I agree.
I think he's.
I agree.
I think the way this is purposefully painted is very stylized. So therefore, it is a silhouette. It is the outlaw. It's right there. He is a symbol. He's not a man, which is why I don't really want to read into those eyes. But I can't help but do so because they're there. So yeah. As for the rest of the painting, which is also awkward, but more effort has been put into it. I'm not sure. I'm also putting this into a timeline. So this was painted in the 1940s.
Yeah, 46, 47.
Yeah. So
this will mean something to you. Apparently, Nolan said that the paintings were, and he was talking about the series, he said that they were a combination of Russo's words, Kelly's words, plus light.
Ah, okay.
That doesn't make a lot of sense to me because I'm unfamiliar with Russo's style. But I have a feeling that do you.
Russo. Let's look him up.
French. I know that it was a French painter.
This guy. Yes, of course. He's the guy that does. I think he did a tiger picture at one point. Yes, and also there's a picture of him doing. Hang on. That's an example of his work. My mum really likes Russo's work. Yeah, there's an example of Russo's tiger painting. Yeah.
Okay. I can only see a little bit to Smart Arts logo.
Oh, you'll see him in a minute.
Oh, okay, cool. I see. Because you see, it's that same weird perspective. The human figures are in a flat plane, but the landscape is not.
Yeah, this is personally done. I never looked up Russo because I wasn't particularly interested, but I thoroughly get what he's saying now. Yeah, a bit of Russo to plus light, as you say. So an attempt of an impressionistic version of Rousseau.
You said, it was Rousseau's words. Rousseau's works. These words plus light.
Yeah,
and I suppose this was the thing and the thing which I read out of this. And there's two things I wanted to say here. One is the technical, and as we're talking technical stuff, I find it interesting the way that Scanlan and the horse are actually on different planes.
Yes. Also, they are on different planes. It's like perspective is being really screwed around with as well. So Scanlan is coming towards us, but he's sort of in the background. Kelly, his gun is behind his gun. So it's really being screwed around with.
I guess that's probably
Also, the horse's legs are back to front as well. I need to point that out. The back legs should not look like that.
Ah,
You know, um,
you're right. They don't really. Yeah, I suppose the screwy perception is what gave it to me gave it that feeling of supernatural, mythic quality.
yes, yes. Hey,
And
it's a
yeah,
compliment. Yeah,
yeah,
fair enough.
I
Awkward
do wish
owl.
do wish I had photos of the costume. But anyway, um, I suppose the thing as an adult or aware, the Kelly story, remembering this is part of a series of I think 27 paintings, is that this is the turning point in Kelly's life, a
Right.
very big, because before this, Kelly was a minor nuisance, and he was a folk hero.
Oh, this was a point where he did kill a police officer and he became an
This is
outlaw.
when when he killed. You see, he was an outlaw before cattle run, but he wasn't a murderer.
Right.
He shot 3 policemen, and you can see there's the camp in the background there, and there's another left in the background.
Yes, yes, yes. I see that.
So, so what happened is, you see, this is a after Kelly did this, he became public enemy number one. And the fact of life is that, and the government, just threw resources at trying to catch him, and you can only run so long.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
the thing
How
did
I
this, it was
don't know
only a
much
matter of.
about the story of Kelly, and I should. How long did he have to run for until his
I don't
last
know.
stand?
Run maybe a year. Um,
Okay, that's not a bad time to develop quite a good story about you. Yeah.
yeah, what he did, you see, he was quite well known because he was the first bank robber.
He's
But
yeah.
the reason he got caught was he decided to try and he declared war, and he tried to make a trap for the coppers.
You're right.
Did at was it Jerilderie? No, Glenrowan. Glenrowan. And if you look in my, actually, if you go back to my blog, you can find the painting of. There's a painting of him in a burning building.
Oh, well, in the same article, or
Yeah, in the same article.
so. Yeah, there it is. And oh, yeah,
Just in,
there's a thing of the Ned Kelly, £8,000 reward for robbery and
yep.
murder. Oh
And
my God,
yeah,
there's a picture of his last stand outfit.
yeah. So what he did, where are you? If you scroll down, you'll see another painting in the series, and you'll notice the eyes are done differently in this
Oh my
occasion.
God, that is brilliant. Okay, is that another Nolan painting?
Yeah, that's another Nolan painting. This is Glen
Okay, I
Rowan.
I take back what I said about the eyes. These eyes are done deliberately.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's Ned Kelly. Um,
So what happened? What he did was he decided he was going to set a trap for the policeman. So he went into the pub at Glen Rowan and he took everyone hostage and he allowed them to get a message out to the police.
right.
And he told everyone in the pub. He said, "Guys, look, don't worry. I'm actually not going. This is a trap for the police. They're going to send up a trainload of policemen from Melbourne, and I have got a trap laid for them on the train lines, and we've pulled the rails apart. So when the train comes up, the train will derail, and we know roughly how long it will take. So we'll actually leave here. We'll go there, and we're going to kill all those policemen." That
Right.
was his.
So that was okay.
And
So
believe it
right
or
from the
not,
beginning, this is a war between him and the police. This is
that's what he
nothing
did.
more
Yeah.
than that. Well, there's
Well,
more to it
Kelly,
than that, but
yeah,
in at the heart, he had an absolute hatred
pretty
towards
much, yeah. That was what it
these.
was.
Uh,
Police.
I'm not unashamedly. gonna say that he would have called them fascists and said, right,
Oh
these are
yeah,
people who
whatever,
need to be
the
taken
terms
down,
today
whatever the
were, he
terms are.
wouldn't have.
Yeah. So yeah, okay, that was his plan. I had no idea of this.
And what happened? The reason the plan didn't work was because actually everybody,
So,
in fact,
everyone at the pub
people
was
in the
told.
pub, they were all told
Yeah.
that they'd be safe, that they had no interest in harming them. And in fact, they kept them entertained by doing trick gunshots and horse riding displays.
Huh, all right.
Just kept, and then they just paid the publican and gave everyone lots of beer.
Free beer and free
So,
entertainment, sure.
yeah, so nobody cared. But the school teacher, asked to be let free so that he could go look after the kids. And so the Kelly gang let him out. And he went actually to the train tracks with a lantern. He didn't go to he didn't take care of any kids. He went to the train tracks with a lantern and stopped the train from being derailed and told them what Kelly's plan was. So the derailment never happened, and the police took a different route, and they caught him in the pub.
Wow.
And so that there is Kelly's last stand. And that is where he was caught. So the thing is, I suppose, is that when I was saying that earlier one with the death of Scanlon, is that to me it has a sort of feeling of fate, that this was going to happen and it was going to lead to this. And I guess that was why that was kind of feeling I get rather out of the painting. So what happened here, of course, the reason he was captured was because he was wearing that armor, and the cops eventually set fire to the buildings.
Oh wow. So hang on, the cops, the police set fire to the pub.
Yeah, they set fire to the pub. That's why it's burning.
That is. Oh, that's a pub behind him.
Yeah, that's a pub.
Oh my god. Okay.
And you see that figure in the background with the red marks running.
Yes,
running
that
one.
Yeah.
That's one of the hostages.
Right, just running off. Yeah.
Because the police set fire to the pub with the hostages inside, I think. But yeah,
wow. Okay.
There were hostages shot by police fire.
I was on the police's side, and now I am not. This is an amazing story.
Yeah.
This really is an amazing story. Like, everyone's at fault here. It's
yeah, absolutely.
You have no real heroes, but you have a huge antagonist and protagonist here. Which is Kelly. No matter where you stand, he will always be remembered. He'll always have that iconic picture of him. So of course, of course, he's been reduced down to not even a human, but just not even a villain or a hero, just a symbol in these paintings.
That's right. And the reason he survived the raid was actually, if you scroll back up to that, basically they made the armor surprisingly well. In fact, you can read, blacksmiths have commented on how odd it was that they were able to make this armor effective despite the fact that they didn't have proper blacksmithing tools.
Right. Okay.
See, it's covered in gunshots.
Yes, that looks incredible.
And basically, of course, it didn't cover the legs. So there. Sorry, you've gone to. Yeah, so you can see there's bullet dents through that.
It looks like it's made of copper, but it probably isn't.
No, it was actually. I don't think it was copper. They made it ploughing it, so it's actually literally beaten out of plowshares.
How about that? Jeez.
Yeah, but of course it doesn't protect the legs. So eventually he was hitting the legs and
got taken down.
That's why was why he was captured.
So we've gone from seeing. Okay, so I'm gonna take back what I said about the eyes just being a position of just because of the style. We shouldn't pay attention to it that much.
You want to put it back?
Yeah, we're looking at the original painting right now.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. I think everything. While this is an awkward painting, it's stylized, and I think everything is done on purpose. Ned Kelly has has reduced from a man to not even a hero or a villain, but just a symbol, just by having the silhouette. But inside that symbol, there's the eyes of a man, a human being. And I think you're right, those eyes do represent regret. Because in the same way, we've got the symbol down here, eyes of anger of a man inside a symbol right here, right in the middle of what is clearly insanity. So yeah, I approve. I think this painting is brilliant.
Oh,
and you're right. Go. So yeah, well done, Steve. Thank you, Steve, for showing me that.
Yeah, no worries, no worries. Last one I'll show. Just
yeah. Oh yeah. Well, last one you want to talk about?
If you scroll right down the bottom of that
right
article.
Right down the bottom. Oh, he's getting judged, right? And again, the eyes have changed to something that has been reduced. It's a clear green. I love these. These are so deliciously ugly.
Yeah, but if you go, yeah, you know, that was his that's his trial, obviously.
Yep.
Random fact, he actually died something like 2 days after Kelly did. Kelly was hung, of course, and the judge died in his bed.
Oh wow.
But, yeah.
How about that?
But if you scroll below that, I just think it's a nice point to leave off the discussion on.
And
scroll down.
Wow, yeah. The last one, and there's no eyes at all. It's just
no eyes at all.
Just the legend, just walking off into the distance there. Just the shell of a dude, and the legend that he'll hold on to. I don't think anything else needs to be said about that. I think we all get it.
Yeah, pretty much. So
I guess that's my favorite. I guess.
Yeah, that's probably. I think that's the most iconic.
Yep, I hear you.
So,
wow.
There you go.
Just by, and I realize that most of what I was looking at in this is the eyes, but in comparison to the rest of the painting, that and the iconic look is really needed to be spoken about.
Very cool. Very cool.
I'm not sure what we're going to talk about next week. I assume what we're going to do is talk about Velvet Buzzsaw, and I have a few things to talk about with contemporary art, which I really, I really want to get into that because, man, you'll enjoy it. You really will enjoy watching Velvet Buzzsaw. And you people who are listening, I think you should watch it as well. We should all do homework together. We should go to Netflix, watch Velvet Buzzsaw, and then we'll come back here, same time, same Smart Arts time, same Smart Arts channel. Who knows? Maybe next time I would have actually done a theme video for the beginning and stuff. I always promise I'll do that, and I never do it. We'll wrap up. How do we wrap up? Should we have some sort of a final thing to say every week? We haven't done that at all. We haven't. Keep watching the stars.
Keep watching the stars. I like it. Okay.